Testing, 1, 2. Is this thing on? We're starting it that way. Welcome.
You should start with the announcement. Start with the announcement of the first snow hitting the Alps or something. That's a good way to be like, now we're starting the podcast or whatever.
Okay.
Reports are coming in, and the first. Yeah.
All right, I'll start it that way. It's the 6th. Hang on.
It's gonna take forever. He said it's the 6th.
On the date of recording, it's the 6th of September 2024, and the first snow is starting to hit the Alps. I opened my Instagram app this morning, and the Val Thorens Instagram account was posting that the first snowfall is starting to hit the top of their peaks, and it feels appropriate to start thinking, talking, and getting excited about the skiing season that is coming up. So, Sam, how are you? How are you looking forward to the upcoming skiing season?
I'm feeling good. The summer's ended. Played a bit of golf in the summer, going into autumn, and it's time to get prepared for skiing season or snowboarding season for some of us. You know, not all of us are skiers like you.
Yeah, we'll broach that subject at some point, skiing versus snowboarding, but we're not there yet.
That's a divisive one. Yeah. That's a whole episode in itself, and that's actually the breakup episode. We got that planned for episode 3. You know.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to get too deep too quickly, because that will get intense. But yeah, I mean that's the beauty of being a skiing or a snowboarder. The summer ends, your tan starts to fade. Everyone else in the world gets a little bit sad, but if you've got a skiing or snowboarding trip to look forward to, it means that's upcoming. That's just around the corner. So I, for one, never get sad when summer ends. Some people get the post-summer blues, but it means skiing and snowboarding. What do you have planned, Sam, for your skiing adventures this winter?
So my dad, I think, has just confirmed that we are going to Austria at the beginning of next year. All my family is going. It's a lot of people. Everyone's bringing a +1. So I think there's 12 people coming. So it's going to be a bit hectic. Yeah, big variety.
You're forming a big snake down the mountain,
yeah, exactly.
like ski school.
There's some people who have never skied, and there's some people who will be on the off-piste. So how are your plans going?
You're going to Zell am See, right?
Yeah, we're going to Zell am See. I haven't been there in Austria for a couple of years at this point. It's been like 5 or 6 years since I've skied there. We've been to Italy a couple times in a row now, so it's time to go somewhere new.
Very nice.
How are your plans going? Have you planned? Have you booked? Do you book in? What's happening?
This is probably, actually, worryingly, the latest we're ever booking. I have nothing booked, but something is in the works for an Austria trip. I've done mostly France the past couple of years, although did do an Austria as well. But yeah, around January, hopefully heading to Austria, and then would like to do something in France as well. And I mean, there are many other places in the world I'd like to ski, but those are the low-hanging fruits that are easy to get to from the UK and give you tons of options. And so tend to at the minute, if I can only get a couple of weeks of skiing in per year, stick to those two. But I know we've spoken about trying to get something in December.
Yeah, we want to get a boys trip going, and we can do some episodes while we're out there.
Exactly.
I think it'll be fun.
Imagine doing an episode from a nice cozy chalet.
Imagine coming in, your feet are sore from walking all day. You take your boots off, get a beer.
Hang on a minute,
you
Sam.
make a podcast.
I thought you don't get sore feet in snowboarding boots.
Yeah, which be fair, I'll be dancing because I'll be perfectly fine.
I'll be the one with the sore feet.
Yeah, exactly.
And then my shin's just ruined.
Oh, sorry, my feet will be sore from all the sweet tricks I'll be doing and falling over, and I'll be in hospital. But we can still record from there.
We'll do one from the hospital bed with your wrist like strapped up.
Yeah.
From all the broken wrists. Very excited. I mean, it's now early December, so it's only a couple of months until we actually get on planes and can go skiing. It's an incredible feeling. So to talk a little bit, actually, as this is episode 1, we'll briefly touch on how Sam and I know each other, because people probably don't know who I am. I appreciate people probably don't know who Sam is, and it's nice to frame a little bit how we know each other. So Sam, I think we've known each other for around 22, 23 years. Which is
it's been a long time.
Crazy to say. We went to primary school together from a very young age. We definitely went skiing then. When did you start skiing, Sam?
When did I start skiing? I think I've got like photos and stuff from when I'm honestly like an actual baby. I think there's ones when I'm like a couple months old and I'm in a pram on a ski trip. But when I properly started skiing was probably maybe 8, 9 or something. I'd have been doing skiing, and then I probably started lessons later. By skiing, I mean my mum is holding me, like slowly pushing me down a tiny baby slope that's barely an incline.
And did you start on a snowboard or start on skis?
No, I started on skis for controversially. I started on skis.
Team
when
skiing.
I was younger, yeah, and I moved over to snowboarding probably when I was around 14, 15. I decided to be more edgy and thought I was cool, so I would try snowboarding. How about you? Have you ever actually tried snowboarding?
I did an afternoon snowboarding whilst I was on a ski trip. So
the first part of snowboarding is so bad.
It wasn't an indoor slope. It wasn't a dry slope or anything like that. I was actually in the mountains with a snowboard strapped to my feet, and yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone should try both just to scratch the itch. But I think God, we're getting into the debate already. Let's not go too deep on this. But
let's talk about how long you've been skiing for. Let's talk about that. When did you start skiing?
Let's go there. Around age 9 or 10. Used to go as a family, my brother and my parents, with some friends, and yeah, instantly hooked. Was very fortunate that a couple of years we'd go for sometimes 10 days, 2 weeks, or we'd go a couple of times, and just did that pretty much every year until probably COVID, when no one could travel. So was very, very fortunate to start from a young age. So have been skiing for a good 17, 18 years, which is just crazy to say. I've skied kind of all over Europe, really. Italy, France, Austria, Switzerland, but I've never been based in Switzerland. I've only skied over the border into Switzerland.
Actually, I think I've done the exact same. I don't think I've ever actually stayed in Switzerland for the ski trip. I've only gone over the border.
Interesting.
I don't think I've ever. It's quite odd.
Yeah,
I think it's quite expensive. Is it quite expensive there? I feel like when I go over there, the spaghetti bolognese on the mountain costs twice as much.
Yeah, your hot chocolate is double the price suddenly. You get on a chairlift, go back to France, and immediately save about €3.
Yeah.
I think Switzerland is generally an expensive country no matter where you go. France is always that little bit cheaper. So yeah, I imagine most people base themselves probably more on the France side, but there's lots of amazing looking Swiss skiing that needs to be tackled one day for sure. We will make it happen.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, so Sam, one thing I want to hear from you is, what is your number one skiing story?
My number one skiing story.
I'm sure
it's a snowboarding story. I'm sorry, I reject the question.
I'm sure over the years we've got our fair share of stories, but I
there's
want
good
your
stories, there's
number
bad
one.
stories.
I want your number one.
Trying to find the good one. So the good one, me and my family, we like a lot of off-pisting. So we're always looking for that fresh snow. We're looking for the fresh, untapped snow where you feel like you're surfing, you're gliding across. And the best part is when you don't have to like worry about, I don't know, where you're going, and you can see exactly the route you're going to take. And I think I was in Zermatt, and they have the train that goes up to look at the Matterhorn. And I'm pretty sure the train was going down, we were going down with the train, and we were in the off-piste, and there must have been snow the day before, and there was just, I don't know, the most open, fresh snow you've ever seen. We're just going up and down hills, gliding along. Everyone's looking while they're on the train. It just feels like, it felt like I was playing a video game. It felt like I could just turn whenever I wanted. It was the most smooth ride I've ever had in my life, and I'm just chasing that, and I have not got back there in like 8 years, so I'll keep going.
Did you do a flip over the train?
In my head I did. In my head it felt like I was about to do a flip off the train. I eyed it up. I said I could do that, and then I didn't.
How nutty would it build a ramp next to the train?
Yeah.
Wait for it to come down or up, and yeah.
How about you? Have you got have you got a number one skiing? Have you got a number one snowboarding moment? That's the main question.
My number one snowboarding moment in my 3 hours of snowboarding is when I fell over and I didn't break my wrist.
Okay.
I left my 3 hour taster lesson with a wrist, or both wrists intact.
Both wrists. Okay.
Yeah, didn't break a single wrist.
That's impressive.
So
how about skiing?
that would be my number one snowboard moment. Skiing. Gosh, I mean, so many like moments where I'd say conditions were perfect, the mountain was clear, and the sun was shining, and you're with your friends. But those we've all got those moments. But for a slightly more, I guess, unique moment, was when a couple of years ago I was in Avoriaz, and the infamous Swiss wall was in front of us, and I was with two friends, and they thought, well, we'll go up to the top and we'll take a look. And I said, yeah, let's, we're here, we're staring at the Swiss wall. It's a beautiful day. The conditions were pretty good. I think it snowed a couple of nights before, so the moguls were big, but not, crazy, and not just rock hard ice at that point. So I said, guys, let's go up and have a look. One of the most steep chairlifts you'll ever sort of face, going up and down. I say down. I didn't go down on it, but some people in my group did. And so you're going up, there's a cafe at the top on the right hand side, and then as you're going up, you're just watching people struggle going down. Some people make it look somewhat easy, but most people take their time because there's an extremely challenging slope. And then as you get to the top of the chairlift, there's everyone debating, peering over the edge, let's say, debating,
taking money bets. Will Joel make it?
Yeah, exactly. Taking bets on survival. So me and my two friends, we got to the top, and I thought, well, I'm here now, confident enough skier, have done a bit of research about the standards required to tackle it. I thought, let's just give it a go. Even though I know it's a very dangerous slope if you're not of the right ability. So anyone listening who's a little bit nervous about it, don't just assume that you can do it, because people do get seriously hurt on that run every single year, because it is if you get it wrong near the top, you're not stopping. It's really that steep and that harsh. But I felt confident enough. My two friends, who one of which is a very similar level to me, he clearly values his life more than I do, so he chose not to, and so did my other friend. But the reason this moment was special is because they were going down on the chairlift, and I started skiing, and they almost had a perfect... They were perfectly kind of following my progress down, and I was skiing under the chairlift. They were above me on the way down, but then their chairlift stopped. Someone obviously fell off for the entry or exit, so the chairlift stopped. In that very moment, I took a big tumble, and they were like filming from the chairlift and making like a mini vlog almost about their experience, commentating my skiing. They just got the perfect angle of me losing it, and them taking great pleasure in me losing it. But I'd say just the I'm not, Sam and I think we probably mostly class ourselves as, resort skiers. We're not freestyle skiers. We're not going into the backcountry and, skiing that way. We're very much mostly resort skiers. I know we both like to off-piste, of course, as well, but kind of spend most of our time on-piste. So therefore, I feel like adrenaline when you ski is, you get it in small doses, but it's not kind of always there, I guess. Sometimes you're going down a green or a blue or an easy red, and you're very relaxed, and you're not getting that adrenaline rush. But this run, from the moment you take it, your heart rate is going through the roof, and you have to concentrate so much. It's a real mental challenge. And I just enjoyed every turn. I enjoyed every moment of it. It took me about 15 minutes to get down, including my fall. But I just enjoyed every second of it. It's the toughest bit of on-piste skiing I've done. It was a great challenge, great sense of accomplishment, but I think it was just perfected by my friends following me down all the way on the chairlift. So very slightly long answer, and a run that probably many of you have skied before. But that was a particular sense of achievement I got from skiing, I guess.
Yeah, it's a confidence boost if you're ever unsure if you can do something. You're like, oh, I've done the Swiss wall, I can do this.
Well, exactly. Got back to the chalet. We're in there with 14 people of mixed abilities, mixed ages, and you walk in with your chest puffed out, and they say, "So did you do it?" And you go, "Yeah, I did it." And it's made even better by the fact you can say that your two friends went down on the chairlift, and you were the only one that did it. They left you all alone to do it. So
one man, one mountain, and he conquered it.
Confidence boost. I'm sure there are tougher ski runs out there, but for someone who's spent most of their life resort skiing, it was a very fun moment.
So, Joel, I've got a big question. Why are two guys that go skiing once a year with their families and friends starting a skiing podcast?
It's a very good question. Now, I guess to talk a little bit about what Lift Pass is and has been, December last year, in the sort of Christmas break, had some time off work, and I was going through some of my old skiing files. I think both you and I, Sam, whenever we've been skiing, probably the past 4 or 5 years, we've had action cameras, GoPro's and things, and just had them recording. And like most people, probably didn't do much with the footage.
Yeah, I think I've got like 2 hard drives of just like skiing footage that's just never been used. You record yourself going down random slopes, and it's never been used. It's never been seen.
And most of it is just that it's going down, but there are some gems in there in what we all record. But yeah, in the Christmas break last year, I was going through some of the footage, and I thought actually some of this footage is visually very kind of stunning due to mostly conditions and things being very quiet in the particular place I was skiing. So I edited it. I added some voiceovers. I told some stories around the content and I uploaded them. I think I uploaded about 7 videos over the winter on the Lift Pass social account, and they performed extremely well. People seemed to engage with the storytelling side of things, and it got me sort of thinking that, or I created actually a fascination with the internet culture that surrounds the skiing and snowboarding world, and how it's shaping people's views and understanding of the skiing and snowboarding world. So I think Sam and I discussed heading into this winter, should we start a podcast? Should we start talking about skiing a little bit more? And it got me doing some research, and I don't feel out there at the minute. There are a great deal of podcasts that at least in Europe, that really talk about the internet culture around the skiing and snowboarding world. And I think something you and I are going to kind of probably talk about a lot on the podcast is the biggest almost clips, moments, the way content is heading in skiing and snowboarding. What's the narrative of the winter? Discussing it, reacting to it, talking about it, highlighting it. And I think it just makes for really interesting discussion, because like I remember all over people who ski and are interested in TikTok, when there was a bad winter and the slopes were really struggling, that content was absolutely everywhere across social media and racking up so many views, and no one is necessarily taking that content and talking about it. They're taking the face value of it. Oh, this is what this content is showing, but actually no one's really going a level deeper with it. And I think there's a huge opportunity to, and I personally will just really enjoy diving deeper into the internet culture around skiboard and snowboarding.
Yeah.
What did I say? Skiboarding.
Skiboarding.
Skiing and snowboarding. But we also got some fun ideas, I think, actually.
Yeah,
Sam.
I need this podcast to be fun. I need some mini games in here.
Exactly. So Sam's got some fun games that we're gonna play with the viewers, or the listeners rather.
Oh yeah, I got to get some ready for next episode.
Yeah,
I want to start a little segment called Slope Notes. I'm a bit of an audio boy, so I want to take, I don't know, a chairlift sound or the chairlift beeping sound when it stops or whatever. and I just want to slow the audio down, pitch it down, and I just want people to. I basically want to challenge Joel to see if he can get these notes that happen to be on the slopes as he's going down. That's what I need.
Yeah, and as Sam said, he's a music boy. He's a sound guy. He loves making music. So, Sam, I hope by the time this podcast goes up, you've made our chime.
Oh yeah, a little jingle. I'll find a good jingle. I'll figure something out.
Sam's going to invent something. And then beyond that, we want to hear from the guests, actually.
Yeah, I want people's, their number one moment. That's definitely what I want. I want to hear people's
we want
top
your
moments.
skiing stories. We want to hear your highs, your lows, your wins, your losses. What is it about skiing that you love? What are those moments that drag you back to the slopes that you can't stop thinking about? What are the things you've seen around the internet?
The perfect skiing scene, and that makes me book another holiday. Like that, someone just needs to come with a paragraph that just, I'm like, yep, okay, I'll book it. I'll book another one. I gotta go. That's what we need.
Exactly, because we have our stories, but I'm sure yours are much more interesting and greater in number. So we want to hear everything. If you want to talk and submit your stories, the email address is podcast@liftpast.org. We will go through all of them, select our favorites and read them out on the show and discuss them because they need to be shared. We want to share your greatest skiing moments, so please do send them in. Sam, couple of last topics.
Okay, hit me with
wrap
them.
Up today's podcast. I've always been, as we discussed in this podcast, we're people that have used and always recorded our skiing adventures. We're the Teletubbies going around with the flashing cameras on our heads.
Yep.
And only recently I've started doing stuff with that content, and it got me doing some more filming, and it made me really interested in getting the settings right and just getting the camera in the best position and everything to get the most high quality angle and high quality footage, I guess, most usable footage. And started to get that with the GoPro Max is what I was using. I'm really enjoying that. It's the 360 camera. I know you use the 360 camera.
I use the what do I use? The Insta360 X3. That's what I use.
And I think the reason I started using a 360 camera is because the field of view on the standard GoPro, especially when they started to increase the level of stabilization, it got very narrow. So quite often you'd be filming, you'd check your footage, and you would see the horizon, and that's about it. And on a blue day with just white snow beneath you, you can't really get a perspective for what's actually being skied on. You're just looking at horizon. So I started experimenting with a 360 camera, which obviously gives you a massive field of view, 360. The problem with 360 cameras is processing the footage. Pain in the arse. The tools out there, and I think Insta360 do a good job of providing a good tool, but I'd get it into Premiere and it would just be a tough thing to work with and reframe and everything. So I think 2 days ago GoPro released their Hero, I believe they're up to Hero 13 now. I last had a Hero 10 and then I had a Max for the last couple of years, but I've seen that they're really starting to focus on providing different lenses to provide different field of views. And they've done this for a few years, having this super wide
I think I've seen the super wide
max lens mod or something, and they've taken it to kind of even greater levels of I guess wideness. It's not really a phrase, but the lens is more wide than before, wider field of view. And then you can also film in a 1:1 aspect ratio, which, given how much content these days is, I think you touched on this earlier, everyone films or posts in 9:16 in vertical.
Yeah, everyone's just using their phone now. That's all you have to do. People just pull out their phone and they'll just record it like that.
Exactly. And having that vertical FOV really works for skiing, because what do you want to see when you ski? You want to see the skis beneath your feet, maybe even a bit of your legs. You want to see the mountains and the view in front of you, and then in the middle you want the slope because it gives you context for
Yeah.
what's actually being skied on. Actually, what's left and right doesn't really matter that much because it's just either trees or more slope. So
yeah, I think the actual 360 cameras like will probably just take over on skiing. One, because it's like the amount of like leeway you get with post processing it. Like if your GoPro gets like knocked down, it's like now you're just looking at the floor the whole time. But like the Insta360 and the GoPro Max is looking all around, so it's like it's so much more forgiving for the a standard user. And yeah, oddly enough, there's not many good ones for the computer to process it. I'm not joking. I think the Insta360 Studio on the computer is worse than the phone app. I'm pretty sure you can do like keyframing properly in the phone app, but not in the studio one. I literally only use the phone one. I don't bother with the PC one.
yeah, I think that's so true. And like these cameras are often things that we pull out of a drawer once per year when we go skiing.
Yeah.
So
and they've always got a firmware update. They've always got some.
Yeah, you've got to
hundreds of
update them.
things.
You get there. You haven't used it for a while, so like there are some settings that you forget to toggle on. Actually, you're right. The 360 camera, and I have loved using the Max for this reason. You just get it into position. Doesn't really matter what position.
Yeah.
Make sure the thing's recording.
Yeah.
Exactly. So much more forgiving. So
You can go from a 16:9, and then you can just flip it over to a 9:16, get that vertical video.
yeah, I would say that if you can get a non-360 camera, so like a GoPro with a nice wide lens, if you can get that right, it's probably you'll get a better image, a more satisfying image.
You should get a better
Especially if
image
you start incorporating like ND filters and things.
Yeah.
You can make it look really, really nice. But that's fine if you're being paid by someone and you've got an entire week to film, and if you mess up the shot once, you can just go and do it again. But when you're on holiday with your family and you skied 2 hours to this corner of the mountain that you're probably never going to see again, you've got one run, you just want it to work.
Yeah, you don't want to miss the funny moment of your family member falling over or something like that. You just want it to be there, to have the chance to see it.
Exactly. So yeah, I think I'm intrigued by it. I'm going to look at the new GoPro and maybe make that the camera I use for the winter. But I'll probably wait to see some people do some skiing.
See some reviews, yeah.
I've seen some reviews. The reviews look good, but everyone's mountain biking because there's no snow.
We need maybe a week or two more of snow, then we'll get there.
Yeah, exactly. But I actually have high hopes, and I know some of the people who work at these companies. They know what people want, and that's why in the marketing material that you're seeing, they really talk about getting the vertical. Or they really talk about vertical video being a big feature. You can record in 9:16, and then, as I said, I would always record in 4:3, but now I think you can do 1:1, which gives you an even taller frame, I believe. So, yeah, it's very interesting, and I hope that this solves my GoPro problems, and it's wide enough so that when I'm getting off the chairlift and I bump it on the bar and it knocks it a little bit, that it doesn't knock it enough so that it just ruins it, as Sam said.
I think at this point we have so many cameras between us. We're definitely gonna have a segment just being like, please fix, and it will just be us pleading that someone at the company will hear and fix a small problem that we have.
Yeah, exactly. We've tried all of them over the years, I would say.
Yeah,
Tried all of them. I still want to take a drone to the slopes.
I have taken a drone to the slopes years
Really?
ago, actually. Yeah, I took one to Whistler. Yeah, it was all right, and that was a big drone. That was
Did Ski Patrol get involved?
They didn't actually, surprisingly.
Wow.
I didn't have it up for too long. I have a video of it somewhere.
You had
I've never properly
Phantom,
taken
right? That huge one.
It's a really big one as well. It's the Phantom 4. It's not
big
like
and
the
it's
new
loud.
small Mavics and stuff like that.
Yeah. I actually saw it on the topic of drones, and maybe we should wrap this up and stop talking about drones, but DJI released a tiny drone the other day.
A little mini one.
That could probably fit in your ski jacket pocket, so maybe it's time to take...
Yeah, I don't know if it will take the ski wind, like the wind. I think that's probably the issue up there.
That's the problem. The smaller and lighter you go, the more they struggle. Cool, Sam. Let's wrap this up. So, just a reminder, podcast@liftpass.org. Send in your stories, your submissions. We want to hear them. We want to talk about them.
Send in anything interesting as well. Just send in stuff that you'd like to hear. If you have funny videos, send them in. I'd love to see them. I'm sure there's honestly so many videos out there that people probably share between their friends that have not been shared online. The greatest clip in the world is out there somewhere, and we need to find it.
I have a fantastic clip of a friend who completely stacks it in a spectacular way, and he has said you can never upload that clip. I'm sure everyone has got clips like that.
Yeah.
But if you send them to us in private, we'll talk about it.
We'll laugh about them in private, and we won't show them,
We'll never publish them.
We'll make a burner account and post them there. Okay.
Cool. Thank you for listening. This is episode 1 of the Lift Pass podcast. Winter's just getting underway. It's going to be delightful, and I can't wait. We're also going to turn into weathermen, Sam.
Okay, yep.
When ski season starts, we're going to start talking about the weather. So we got to pretend we know.
We'll have a big weather report for you people, yeah.
Yeah, becoming meteorologists. Crikey. Never thought I'd add that to my CV. Blimey. Definitely not qualified. Right. Thanks for listening. Good to see you, Sam.
See ya.
Bye. Bye.